This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here are your hosts, Ryan Alford and Chris Hansen.
Hello, and welcome to Vibe Science. We're always taking you to your highest vibe. We're about mind, body, and energy, holistic approaches to modern wellness. That's what we're here for. Chris Hansen down in Miami. What's up, brother?
Trying to get my highest and hardest vibe today, guy.
We're definitely going to get there, I believe. I think we talk about a lot of topics, and we like to cover the gamut of wellness and innovations, especially. That's why I'm excited that we have the co-founder of Matrix Vibes. He is Rick Magana. What's up, Rick?
Hi, Chris, Ryan. Great to be on the show. Thanks for the invitation.
Yes, we are excited to have you. Hey, we're vibrant men. We have a health and wellness show. Why wouldn't we want to talk about how to make sexual wellness even more well?
That's the name of our game. We're all wanting to know what goes into our bodies. We are more health conscious, I believe, than ever before. And my business partner, Dr. Topical, and myself, before really starting any of our formulas, realized that going topical application for medication, you have much faster effects, okay, without waiting time or having to experience the side effects from these synthetic artificial ingredients that they put in a lot of the RX medications that are out there, especially for sexual wellness. And let me tell you, the formulas we came up with worked even better than we ever anticipated. And we only use all natural active ingredients. So you never have to worry about what real foreign stuff's going into you. I mean, unless you can OD on tea or some herbal, spices on your food, I don't think any of that's ever going to happen with our products.
Yeah, hopefully not. Rick, before we dive into some of the specifics around Matrix, I thought it'd be interesting, talking about sexual wellness. While I feel like we have progressed, I still feel like it is not a topic, especially probably for men, that is comfortable. And I can attest to the fact that even myself, I don't talk about it a whole lot. I knock on wood, I'm not just saying this. I have not experienced firsthand many, if any, personal experiences of it. But I do when I even put myself in, having this show and having this conversation now, there's kind of like this natural muchacho, like whatever, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is, isn't it?
Of course. Yeah.
Why is that?
I'll second that, because I don't remember having a thorough conversation with, let's say, one of my brothers or a really good friend about such issues. Whether you have issues or not, it's just not always the conversation you're going to have over a beer or a couple shots. But
Yep.
I'll tell you something that I've learned since we started Matrix, and we've done a few of the trade shows already for the industry.
Yeah.
You get tons of guys that come to the booth to learn about the products, right? But a lot of them will say, well, I've never had any problems with this. But my answer is, whether you've had problems or not is something you enjoy.
Yep.
Okay. And if you're going to have good, healthy sex, with your partner, why not enjoy it to the next level? So,
Yeah.
what we've created, I believe it's a much softer approach to things so that we can talk about it easier. Because now we're talking about herbs. Now we're talking about natural ingredients. And why not try something that you now believe, if you try, you'll believe that you're not going to get all those weird feelings. But as I'm experiencing and meeting these individuals, once you break the ice a little bit, then it's diarrhea of the mouth.
I know.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
Well,
break
maybe
that
this show
ice, guys,
we're helping
because
thaw the ice a little bit. I mean, I don't know that I want any more diarrhea, but I do want to break the ice for sure. But
yeah,
no, I get what you're saying. But Chris, why do you? Is it just the guys, the machachos? Nobody wants
I
to own
think
up
so.
to like
'Cause think
these
about it.
issues.
Let's be real. Women talk about sex. Look at every magazine cover in the grocery
Yeah.
store, right? Top 10 sex moves, 10 ways to make you look sexier to your man. Yeah, it's taboo for men. I think I'm pretty open compared to most of my friends. I mean, I am with most things. It's probably why we have this show.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about making sexual products, and
Yeah.
I think, Rick, you said it in a great way, which was, you don't need anything wrong. What struck a chord to me was thinking, I know a lot of people that they enjoy sex after a couple of drinks, right? It's a different experience. It's a different sensation, or maybe after and some other recreational substances, whatever it might be. You can, and I think people understand there's ways to enhance your sexual wellness without having a problem, right?
Right.
Because I've seen and tried some products with some of these, these types of natural things like maca or fenugreek, whatever.
right.
And there's definitely a difference, right? Whether it's an increase in your sensation or whatever it is. And maybe me even talking about this is like taboo, right? But it should be something we're comfortable talking about, being that it's literally how we create new life on this planet. I think not that we need to sexualize, right, society, but the act, I think, of sex and our well-being should be very important, because a sexless life is not a good life and not a healthy life. We don't talk about it from a health
Yeah.
standpoint much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What
Well-
what I've learned also is, as much as we don't talk about it, I believe it'd be wonderful for, Cosmo magazine, and these, like you said, the women's magazines, they talk about everything. I really think we should, get in Men's Health magazine, or GQ, or some of these magazines that are mainly directed to men, and start talking about this, because we love our women, right? But we also need that love and attention in return. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
want people to know that we might have an issue, or we might want to try something different. So let's be a little bit more open. Hopefully, here, with what we're trying to do, we want everybody to know about this. And, you know, men that have to go to the doctor, for example, because they might be having erectile dysfunction issues, or whatever issues we want to bring up. And even women have their issues. And there's the other reverse role, where a lot of women will not go to the doctor and talk about that either. Okay. But men, we can go to the doctor and say, hey, can we get some of the blue pill, or the yellow pill, or this pill, or that pill? And they'll give you a prescription. No questions asked. Women also need more of that. But what we did, we're catering to both men and women equally, so that we can both together enjoy these wonderful new products that are natural and healthy and fun. You know what I mean? For example, our vitality gummies that we make, they don't only help you, let's say, get in the mood, right? But I put in their ingredients so we can eliminate anxiety, performance anxiety. So you can help with your depression, insomnia, I put beautiful antioxidants in it. So within 2 weeks, your skin, your hair is going to be glowing. So what happens when you start feeling good from the inside out? And now it's showing. So when you're looking in the mirror, you're like, wow, I think I'm looking a little better. I'm a little more calm in my mind. That means you're going to have a better day. And if you're going to, have that moment, you're going to enjoy it even better.
Yeah. I love that. And I think back to what both you and Chris highlighted. And the point of this show is like optimization.
Right.
And it's, I don't know why I always think in these terms, not even, we don't intend to be political, but it's like, I don't know, it's like making sex great again. Like, cause I feel like there's this, I don't want to create something that doesn't exist, but like, I can't help but think like, back to the guy girl thing, like this sort of, well, that's all guys think about, or this toxic masculinity thing. Cause we're talking about, sex. Well, maybe we need to talk about it more with one another.
Definitely.
And optimizing it, making it great. And it's not because it's the most important thing, but it is important. And it's a part of being a human. And why wouldn't we want to be, we get so caught up on being better and improving a million things in our lives. Why wouldn't you want to improve that? Why wouldn't you want that to be better? I think it's okay for wanting to want that to be better.
Especially as a man, because I think as a man, that's a big part of your ego, right?
Right.
If you can't perform, or you feel, even if you just feel you're not performing or your body's not the same as it used to be, that's going to make men feel very insecure. And that's where it's like, you shouldn't be embarrassed about something that I think is such a vital part, that's where you got to be comfortable talking about it and at least educating ourselves on it, I think, which is what we all talked about in the beginning. Is like, to my knowledge, these types of ingredients that you guys use in Matrix have been used back in ancient times up until, 100 years ago, right?
Exactly.
Kind of before pharma came around. And I think like you nailed it, where we're all looking for healthier things, especially outside of pharma.
Right.
But the one category we have not ever talked about, and I've never heard anyone talk about, is the sexual wellness medication, right? The ED drugs that we know have side effects and typically don't really help you heal the problem, right? They're kind of a temporary Band-Aid, which from my understanding can actually make it worse.
Yeah. The longer you use these prescription products, with time, it is going to make things worse, and you're going to need to dose yourself higher than recommended. I mean, I've heard of guys chewing 3 Viagras at one time just because, they already went through the 1, they went through the 2, now they're chewing 3 so that they can perform like they did, let's say, 10 years ago, right? Well, with our products, you don't need to do any of that. It's just a topical application. What this does, it brings instant blood flow to, obviously the penis or the vagina, so that both men and women can equally share the moment, enjoy the moment in a very, very healthy way. And there's men that have come back and said that because there's no side effects, there's no waiting time, they can actually do this multiple times in one day. And you can really use pharmaceuticals to do that, because now you're going to be off for the next 3 days recuperating, from all the side effects and that overdose when you wake up the next day from all these synthetic ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, I don't know if you guys have heard of Blue Lotus.
Yep.
Blue Lotus has been clinically tested and proven to reverse erectile dysfunction.
Wow.
It's a flower.
It's pretty black and white.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my gummies that I make, the performance gummies, that's our main ingredient in there. But within 20, 30 minutes, you will be very ready for that encounter and pleasurable again without the side effects. But now
Get your hands on
imagine
these
if you're
gummies.
taking those gummies for enhancement and then you apply the topical when you're ready for intercourse, you're going to be staying in for the weekend possibly. All natural ingredients. How beautiful can that be? And let me something that I learned early on. Dr. Otico and I were driving back from an event we did, and we started talking about the economics, on pharmaceutical products, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, whatever, right? In 2023, that industry was about a $7 billion industry, right? 7. But then we did the research on sexual wellness products, like what we're into. It was a $23 billion industry.
Wow.
So with that being said, as a lot of guys, whatever age they are, they say, you know what? I've never had any problems with this. I don't need this. I don't need that. Who's buying these products then?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm like, nobody needs it, but everybody's buying
taking it.
You're not fooling me.
yeah. It's like
Let's
everyone's
go.
buying it, but you're not seeing anyone at the checkout counter with it in their basket.
Yeah, because they go by themselves, right? So nobody catches them in the act.
And now that you said that, I did want to, I pulled up some stats here because I remember reading this, because obviously we've all seen all these online companies, right? Like Hims and Row Health, all these online ED direct, which tells two things, right? One, mail order obviously is preferred because men don't want to tell anybody about this. They want to sit at home and just be secretive.
Exactly.
Two, there's a new market emerging. And I looked up the stats because I remember reading this. You have a 25% increase in men under 40 now reporting erectile dysfunction or problems.
Very true.
So, and that's, I think, something else that as a society we're battling porn, for example, these other influences that also are stress or the environment or our food supply. That is all, I think, having an impact on our bodies as well.
Absolutely.
That I think to have products like yours that can kind of counter that in a natural, healthy way is an amazing thing to bring to the market now.
Just think about how healthy this is, right? And like I compare prices on, like, you can go to the liquor store and buy the pill hanging behind, the counter.
Black Rhino pill.
And I've seen them as cheap as $10 a piece, but those are the ones that come from other foreign countries with really generic ingredients.
Yeah.
Hopefully the ones that they're selling for $16, $18 got better quality herbs or whatever they're putting in them. But like, the question to you guys and everybody on the audience that might be watching and listening, you can go pay $18 for this nasty pill that's going to take an hour. And then the next day, you're going to feel like not so good. Take Matrix product. Let's say just our topical, because it's obviously our brand. It's mainly topicals. Let's say it costs you $12, right? But it works in 1 to 3 minutes without any of the side effects. Would you pay $18 for this crazy pill or $12 for an all natural that basically works instantly? Talk about
easy
healthy.
choice.
Talk about changing the future, the mentality of men. And of course, the women love this also because it's 100% safe for them. Because remember, they're topicals. So female anatomy, is different than ours. So we need to make sure that when women apply these products, they're safe. So our transdermal delivery system consists of 2 FDA approved and regulated ingredients that are safe for both men and women to use. And they're the ones that create that 92% absorption into the skin. So it's like almost like a trick question, right? Do you want to pay more and wait an hour and get a ton of side effects? You pay less, you get better results instantly. Wow.
Talk to me about how we apply. Is this applied to the area in question, or is it
You would
applied
simply
elsewhere?
apply directly to the penis, and you massage it in. And on average, most guys within 60 seconds. But let's say it took you 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Are we going to complain? Versus an hour?
More time.
Probably no
The girl's
complaints.
not going to complain about that. So.
Right. And then imagine if you have the energy and the right partner, you might be able to do this 2, 3, even 4 times a day, and you still don't have to worry about all those side effects.
What are the side effects, Doc?
Babies.
That's what I see people saying.
Happy.
Children.
You're not going to want to go to work Monday. Or, honey, we're calling in sick on Monday, both of us.
Oh, it's
but
so it does bring the question. It does bring the question, like, we're careful not, with our show, we are trying to elevate the discussion of alternative paths and not badmouth modern medicine, because we need both.
Of course.
But it does bring the question up of, if there are these solutions that you guys like at Matrix Vibes are developing that are natural and that have this effect, like, why has it got to be a prescription, and I guess I'll let you respond to that, Rick, while also maybe responding to what's the percentage of people that this works for or doesn't work for?
Obviously prescription meds, they do work. Okay. Whether it's for, sexual performance, or you're taking medicine for, for a sore throat, or,
sure,
if you have high blood pressure, stuff like that. Western medicine is amazing. Okay. But as you know, a lot of people even get addicted to opioids. You know what I mean? And a real short personal story. My own mother, about 20 years ago, was basically overdosing on prescription meds. So I finally got involved, and I took a bag, all her prescription drugs. I put them in a grocery bag, and I went to her doctor's. And I'm like, I put it on his desk. I'm like, what is this, buddy? Because I did the research. He gave her 3 different prescriptions for the same thing. Okay. I almost lost my mom to that. But I still have a lot of respect for Western medicine, because we do need it at some times. I don't know how these doctors think that just adding another pill and another pill and another pill is going to heal anybody. You're basically taking days off their life. You know what I mean? But we set out to create these natural products so that we can first eliminate that prescription, healthier sexual wellness, know exactly what you're putting in your body, whether it's ingested or topical. But again, we're mainly topical. The reason we made the gummies just because they're chic, but they work. Okay. So the future and what we're trying to accomplish as we're hiring more people into the team is to really promote this into the mainstream, let's say, magazine, podcast, hire ambassadors for the products, because as soon as it really catches on the way we anticipate this year, people are going to follow us, and people are going to follow what's good for them. I mean, I started working out when I was 15 years old, right? And ever since, I've never quit. Because you know what? It feels good. You feel good from the inside out. You build your confidence. You can just, you're breathing. I've never put any in, no, like working out, like they do steroids and do this and do that. It was always all natural, to where I even competed when I was in my early 20s. Okay. You know, I'm 62 right now and I can run circles around most guys that are half my age. So, um, let's get away from the synthetics. Let's get away from the prescription drugs. Let's follow what's in our best interest to create longevity, to have a better sense of feeling. And again, like I said, we work on your performance anxiety. And yes, men 35 to 45 have about 35-40% less testosterone, let's say, than I did when I was 35-40 years old. And it's today's diet that we have. Men sitting still playing video games. They're not mobile enough. They're not physical enough. So they're losing that testosterone in a huge way. And a lot of younger men are being diagnosed with colon cancer. Same thing, because they're sitting on their butt too long doing these games. Technology is wonderful, but it can also kill you. Technology is just as bad as those really bad drugs that we can get on a prescription or that others seek out on the streets. Technology is no better than that. But we need both at the end of the day, even just for us to conduct business. We use technology to create our formulas. We, do a lot of science, but the way society is right now, people need more education on how to actually avoid a lot of these drugs, limit the use of technology, live a healthier life, get off the couch and do something physical. Especially if you have kids, get out and play with your kids, go for walks, ride your bike. It's all about just feeling good and doing good things. Go outdoors. Swim, go water ski.
That's right.
Rick, how many people, what's the success rate?
We, the thing that we haven't nailed 100% is because we're still working on our education videos on the how to apply in that. So there's been very little, comments about, oh, it didn't work for me. And it was probably because they didn't apply it properly. It does give you instructions on the back of the packaging, but I think most people don't read that. So as we're gearing up with our our how-to video education videos and start doing more podcasts, doing more direct-to-consumer advertising, we're going to teach you from day one how to apply, how to really enjoy, because this should work for everybody. I've had men that have heart problems that are taking a lot of medication, and it works for them because they can't really take the Viagra, Cialis, or the Rhino pills, but now they're applying this topically and they're achieving instant blood flow to the penis. It's working. It's worked for a lot of diabetic men already that I've met personally. So we're so new to the business, to the industry, I should say, that I would say by the end of this year, when we're really that brand that we're creating, we're not going to have these negative, comments or it wasn't for me and stuff like that. But again, there's never a one size fits all. But if 95% of men and women are achieving and having that experience, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. Well, especially when it's all natural. And,
Right.
the downside of trying something natural versus chemicals, that you're ingesting. I think a lot of people would rather because I don't know anybody that would go, oh, I want the pharmaceutical. Like if all things are equal, and actually not equal because this works faster, quicker, and we're natural, but it seems like you choose the natural option first, as long as once the education is out there.
That's the name of the game. You know what I mean? I think, like I said, we're working on all the education videos right now for each individual product. Within the next 90 days, we're going to start making a huge, huge difference. And we're creating a lot of commotion,
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time. Of course, we're going through our growing pains because at first everybody thought we were selling snake oil. It's like, nobody. Try the product, then come talk to me. For example, we have the Vitality gummies for both men and women. Most women come back within 2 weeks and say they're feeling amazing and looking amazing. We have the growth formula for men that can actually make a penis larger. Okay. 2 weeks of that. I tell them, give me 2 weeks and you'll be a believer. And so far, nobody has come back and said, you know what? It didn't do anything for me. We're actually in the process of doing.
We just sold 1 million jars.
I know. I was like, Rick, where's our
Chris is ordering while you were talking.
Are we getting free samples or what, Rick?
Well, my idea was that you guys should have already had the samples with you.
Yeah, we should have. Here's how this is going to work, Rick. This is how it's going to work. All right. We've done this show. We'll release it, but we're going to get samples in the mail because then we're going to do a follow-up a month or two from now. And and we can even talk about some sponsorship, but let's get the product in our hands. We can tell you, Chris is going to take double of that last one.
I suggested to my team to get, because our PR girl, who's amazing, she's setting up podcasts for me right now. And as we're growing the team, but I believe that everybody that we talk to in a situation like this, you should have already had samples. Okay.
Yeah.
Because then you would really grasp the idea of this innovation, and we really have no competition. So I would love for you guys to be a testimonial, whether I want to use it or not. I just want you to experience the difference and how you're going to stay with this probably for the rest of your life, because it works. It's healthy. It's safe. It's safer, faster, healthier.
Yes.
Well, sounds like I need to plan
Chris can't wait to get a handle on it.
Right, yeah.
I will make sure today we send you the care package.
I'm definitely
after the show, send me both your addresses so I can make sure you guys get some of this and share with your closest, full of friends. But we have no doubt whatsoever on making some of these claims without overdoing it, because at the end of the day, we're not FDA approved, but we don't need to. We know sometimes that being FDA approved could be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to take you down into the rabbit hole or something.
I know.
We know that with our products, you can use them as much as you want, and you're not going to be, doing AA meetings after that.
Yeah. Chris, any final thoughts here with Rick?
I'm just ready to get my hands on this product, Rick.
Oh, I know.
I'm the test dummy of the group for sure, but
I'll definitely. I'm happily married. I'll definitely give it some.
My suggestion to you guys would be, please get on the daily gummies, and I'm going to really ask you to get on the growth formula. In 2 weeks, after you start that, you're going to call me, and your mind's going to be blown.
Three-way call.
Straight up.
Yeah. Ryan, who's right? Rick, you're right.
It might be a four-way call. Chris's
what
girlfriend.
happens with the growth formula is you've heard of joking exercises, right?
What'd you say, Jay? What?
Joking. Joe Rogan just did a couple big posts on it. I got to send some product to Joe Rogan to make him a believer as well. But he was talking about the joking exercise that a lot of the corn stars use it for growth and stuff like that. Well, we don't want to make claims. We want you to be your own testimonial. Because what happens after 2 weeks of using this with the joking exercises, you're going to have constant blood flow. And you're going to have more frequent erections. What you do with them is a different story.
Yeah. I think you're onto something big, Rick.
Yeah, these penis surgeons are going to be real mad down in Miami at me, Rick. These guys on the billboards advertising for bigger junk.
Yeah.
This is life-changing in a sense. And besides the fun that we have with it, this is the future.
Yeah, no, this truly is. It's life-changing. I mean, sex is a very important part of your life.
And we men need to talk about it more.
Yeah.
What about us? What about our emotional feelings, our, anxiety or depression? If we have a good, healthy sex life, we're going to carry ourselves better. And at the same time, you're better for others around you. So what a beautiful thing, Make
Rick, where can everyone learn more about Matrix?
MatrixVibes.com is our website. Okay. Check it out. Follow us, please. But real soon you're going to be seeing a lot of videos being put up on each individual product so that people have no doubt on the beauty of how these products work.
Love it. I love it. We really appreciate you, Rick. Look forward to reporting back and getting some samples. And we thank you for coming on the show.
It was a pleasure, guys. I enjoy this. Good talk.
Thanks for
I have to go to Miami and water ski.
Come on down.
Yes.
Soon. Anyway, appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon. We'll get those samples out to you. Okay.
Perfect. Hey guys, you know where to find us. Vibescience.com. You'll find links to all of the content from today's show. Find links to Matrix Vibes and, of course, to Chris and I's social media. We'd love for you to give us comments, feedback. Let us know what you're thinking, what you want to hear about. Hey, we're here for you. We're here to empower you to your highest vibes. We'll see you next time on Vibe Science.
The content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe